What's up, everyone? Everyone. DBL Click. What's happening? So today is the last day of 2018. What's up, man? What's up, everybody? Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, it's really hard to believe that this year is over already. It's crazy. It blows my mind. A lot of stuff happened this year. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. Not much bad stuff, really. Mostly good stuff. But time to make the New Year's resolutions, you know? Everybody got them yet? Are you working on them? I need to lose 20 pounds. That's my New Year's resolution. Kiolo, what's that? What does that mean? I know that's some Hawaiian, but I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's something good. I'm working on a new video right now that's 20 greatest bass sounds. Happy New Year in Hawaiian. Very good. 20 greatest bass sounds of all time. I did the drums. I did the rock bass sounds. I did the drums. I did the guitar. Now I'm doing the bass. Some of these are pretty obvious. The people that I'm gonna have in here. The thing about this series is that like on this video, for example, I have all isolated tracks but one, which is really, really difficult to do. What else? Interesting thing, yesterday I joined Masterclass. Ken, yes, that is, I do have Tool in there. I haven't gotten to that yet. You know what tune I'm going to do. So I joined Masterclass last night. There was Rhett was telling me that there's a deal on it, and so I started checking it out and skipping around to some of the filmmaking ones and things, and and some of these are there's some good stuff in there, but they're really a mess. I mean, honestly, they just there's in the things I watch, very little demonstration. Ken Burns, I watched a few of his episodes. I mean, I need to actually sit down and watch these things, but I probably watched two or three of each of about 10 different, 2 or 3 episodes of about 10 different people. And you know, I'm trying to get ideas on things. The things I'm interested, I'm not interested in film scoring with Hans Zimmer or anything. Not that that's bad. I'm interested in the filmmaking or documentary making, because it's really interesting to me. And I am working on a documentary right now related to some of the stuff that I've done on here. Not about me, but it's something that I hope to have done by the end of January. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But it's going to be at least an hour and a half long, I would say. So I am not planning to teach on Masterclass. I have no interest in teaching on Masterclass. You know, everything's really well shot, but you have to come up with examples for people, you know? It's interesting. Hold on, let me get a guitar here. So, you know, Herbie Hancock is on there talking about jazz. So he's talking about voicings. He first of all, he does this great improvisation. Then he starts to talk about voicings. And when he's talking about voicings, he says, "Oh, we'll do inversions like this," and then he made about 25 mistakes. He goes, "Oh, sorry, sorry." I just thought it was not well edited. So You can't just get on and vamp on these things. Like I do, right? But I'm practiced at vamping. He was showing a warm-up exercise. He's a 76-year-old guy. He definitely has some arthritis going on. But man, he played some killer ideas. He's got 2 hearing aids too. That's from listening to a lot of loud music in his life and playing jazz. You know, you sit next to a drummer that's bashing the ride cymbal, and it'll make you go deaf. Honestly, do I use pro lighting techniques for my videos? I do now. I mean, I have a very new camera set up that I bought a new camera, a Sony camera, just after on Black Friday. It was on sale. And I use 3 lights here. If you guys want to see, I'll show you. So I have one camera. There's one light there. There's a monitor. Then over here is my main camera. That's my Sony with its monitor. See, there's a small monitor there, and there's my Canon camera. So I have a light up there, and then I have a light right there. I've had these LED lights for a while, probably, I don't know, 6 months or something, but you know, you can have the lights and not know how to use them. So I've been watching a lot of videos, like like everybody does. I go on YouTube, and I paid about $75 each for each of the lights, and it was completely worth it. I want to talk about something here. This is I want to talk about something in music theory, because I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and he didn't understand this concept about a tritone substitute. I'm trying to think of this tune that we were talking about too. And he said, "What is that chord? I don't understand how that relates." And oh, it was going from a F7 chord to an E7 altered. And we were talking about, oh no, this is what it was. It was the bridge of Cherokee. Okay, so it was C sharp minor, F sharp 7, B major 7, and then B flat minor 7. So we did a quick 2-5, C minor 7 to F7, then B minor 7, E7 to A flat major 7. Okay, so there's a, typically in Cherokee, in the bridge, you have and then it goes right to B minor 7. So it goes C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, B major 7 for 2 bars, B minor 7, E7, A major 7 for 2 bars. But there's a common substitution that I thought everybody knew, but this friend of mine who's a jazz guitar player did not know this. And the substitution is to actually put a 2-5 in the middle of it. So you take the second bar of the B major 7. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Instead of doing that, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I do a 2-5 in the key of B flat. And then I go down to the 2-5-1 in A. And you repeat the pattern. This was very common in the hard bop era. What he didn't understand was the theory behind it. And I said, well, take out the 2 chord here. So let's say you just go C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, B major 7, and then F7 or F9, and then if you think of it this way, this chord, this F9 here, is actually a tritone sub to the E chord, right? So it'd be, or, anytime you have half-step dominant chords, they're acting as tritone substitutes. But if you put a 2 chord in front of it, it becomes confusing. Okay, so I have, so I've got and then I got my C minor 7. Okay, so what I did there, I played, there's do da 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 boo do 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 da 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 boo da boo da ba da 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 da. So that this. Here's the thing, when you do this tritone sub, normally the tritone sub would function like this. You would go F sharp minor 7 or minor 9 to F9 to E major 7, or you could go, and you could have the dominant chord be a 1 chord, right? 2, 5, 1 dominant, all right? So, I've got my so I've got okay, that chord here in this case on the tritone sub here, you're going to play mixed sharp 11. Now you could play F altered, but what gets screwed up here is all the tension notes get screwed up because F altered really wants to go to B flat. It doesn't want to go to E flat major 7. Okay, so the tritone sub scale is mixolydian sharp 11. And this is what my friend didn't understand. That if you play F sharp minor 7 to B7 altered to E major 7, okay, this scale is altered dominant. Right? Or, okay, so that chord and that chord are the same chord. F9 and B altered have the same top of the chord, which would be, that's A half diminished. Okay, so this altered dominant and mixed sharp 11 are related by tritone. They are the same scale. Okay, so any idea that you play that goes from Dorian to altered dominant will work on a tritone sub. What's up, Brett? Happy New Year. Okay, so I play a simple bebop line like that. Or I go. Okay, that's the same line will work over both. Over this, it has more tension. Okay, but they are related because they're from the same melodic minor scale. They're from C melodic minor. So C melodic minor contains both B altered dominant and F mixed sharp 11. F mixed sharp 11 is the 4th mode. B altered dominant is the 7th mode. So you will see this happen in tunes a lot. If you think about, let's see, let's see here. Now I'm having let's see here. If I take a tune like, I got to think of an example. Let me see here. Okay, so let's say I take, I'll come up with one here. Let's see. Okay, so we got, let's say Girl from Ipanema, the bridge. Right there. So if you go to, let's see. So we're going G flat major 7 to B7. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Okay, so right there, this E flat 7 or E flat 9 down to A minor is really doing the same thing that I was talking about. Okay, it's a tritone substitute going to that 5 chord that would come after this, even though you've already had that. But that's a great example of usage of that chord there. This is actually kind of a weird song, Girl from Ipanema, because it has 5 chords going to 2 chords all the time, right? You got your 5 chord in the bridge, then your 2 chord. When that's your 5-1 cadence. You could use that. This chord. Same chord. That's tritone sub though. Same thing. Okay. D7 altered is the same as A7, A flat 7 unaltered. C7 altered or flat 9 is the same chord as F sharp 7 unaltered. Okay, or F sharp mixed sharp 11. So, same chord. Different scales because you have different roots. This chord would be mixed sharp 11. This chord would be C altered. Anybody that it's confusing to know these relationships, but these are common things. This is very common in jazz to put in a 2-5. Anytime you have a 2-5-1 where the one chord is held for 2 bars, it's very common to do a quick 2-5 in the second bar, up a half step. Wes does that in all of his songs, and there's a great video where he's playing with Pim Jacobs Trio. It's from 1965. It's on YouTube. It's fantastic, and they talk about this exact thing. Wes, it's actually surprising. The guys in the group do not know this change. So Wes is playing the tune. He says, he stops the tune. He said, "Okay, let's put in a 2-5 here," and the piano player does it, and then it's the same kind of thing where he's doing a half step. Then they do another 2-5, and he wants him to do it again. And by the second time through, the piano player's like, "Oh, okay, I got this." And then he knew what it was. But I always thought that was common knowledge. But apparently, that is not common knowledge. That how the tritone substitute and the altered dominant chords are related because they're from the same parent scale. Okay. That West video is a great video, Brett. It's amazing how Wes explains the tunes because he's going through a lot of changes, and the guys are picking it up, and they immediately are playing over it. I mean, that's I love that video. I played that video for Dylan. He was fascinated by Wes. I played that DVD. I bought it at Borders before it went out of business. I was looking around, and they had this jazz series. They have a series. They have Oscar. They have Dexter Gordon. So I started buying these, and one day I walk in and I see Wes Montgomery, and I'm thinking, I've never seen any live footage of Wes. And I bought the thing, and Dylan's 11, so it was 11 years ago. And so I started putting it in, and he would watch the whole thing. It's like an hour and a half long. He was fascinated by Wes because Wes is always smiling. And like I say, if I played as good as Wes, I would be smiling too. And Brett, you're exactly right. That's a great example of learning by ear on the bandstand. It really is. Everybody here should watch this. Go just search on YouTube, Wes Montgomery, 1965. He's with a trio, piano, bass, and drums trio, and they play a blues first, and then they do Nika's Dream, and then they do Brett. Do you remember the tune they're doing where he's I think he asked Wes what the name of the song is, and Wes can't remember the name of the song is. But Wes then explains to him all the changes right there as they're being filmed. I think this was a rehearsal or something. I don't know what this was. But it's fascinating just to watch the band just learn it on the bandstand right there and memorize it. That's what you need to be able to do, really, is you need to be able to just understand these things immediately, form those connections wherever you can. A lot of these 2-5 things that were done in the 60s, these half-step 2-5s are very common. I'm going to give you another example that's a great example of a sub-change that maybe is not as common, but there's a tune called it's not from Hamburg, Keola. This is live from, there were 3 different things. It's from one DVD. I think it's from Amsterdam or something. I'll see if I can find it here and put it in the chat. But there's a great substitute chord change as well that I want to talk about that Metheny does. I hate to keep coming back to Metheny, but he does on Blues for Pat. Because I was trying to think of examples of this for my friend when we were having this discussion. I said, "Do you know the song Blues for Pat off Rejoicing?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "You know this? He does this one sub," and he says, "No, I don't know that." So I played it for him, and he plays. Then he goes, in his solo, he goes da 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 da. He plays da 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 da. It's really great. Instead of going, he goes. So the B flat, you're on the 5/5 bars. Right there. So you're on bar 5, 6, bar 7, 8, and then 1, 6, 2, 5, top, right there. So yeah, he goes to D flat major 7, Pat does. That's what Pat's playing. That's his solo there. But that change there, he only plays it one time. He goes to this, da, 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 and he goes right. As soon as he does this, Charlie Hayden's all over the D flat, his ear. Charlie Hayden had perfect pitch. I'm almost positive of this. So Charlie, as soon as he hears Pat do this, and that's why I think, that's why Charlie was so good. His ear was so good at hearing what other people were playing when he played with Ornette. Nothing ever was really atonal. There wasn't really free jazz because Charlie heard exactly what they played, and he would play the right bass notes under it. No matter what those guys were playing, they'd be playing changes. Charlie's like, oh, I hear he's playing an F triad, so Charlie's outlining an F chord. So it was never free jazz, even though they called it that, That's why it sounded so good. That's why those Ornette records were good. But Pat plays that thing, and Charlie's just, by the second note, Charlie's playing, he's got the sound. And I was telling my buddy, I said, you got to know all these different substitutions. And he said, well, what do they do the next, so is that, once they play that, does that mean that they play that for the whole tune? I said, no, you play different subs every time around. You think, Brett, you think he did? Yes, I'm positive. His technique is so weird, but his intonation is perfect. He had terrible technique, but he never played out of tune. He had such a good ear. But I was telling my buddy, I said, no, you got to play different. These guys, the pros, play different changes every time around. He's like, well, what do the other people do? I said, they either lay out or they have great ears and they can just hear these things. And I said, it's not even about, you don't have to have perfect pitch to know this stuff. You just have to know what some of these substitute chord changes are, because a lot of them are just common. It's just common language that I think everybody knows. It's a lot of stuff I went over on my channel early on. I did whiteboard videos on a lot of this stuff that people, frankly, don't go back and watch. I mean, YouTube is the here now and what have you done for me lately kind of a thing that they don't go back and watch a lot of the stuff that I did, I think, early on in the channel, up until a year ago or so, when I thought that I really kind of had exhausted this stuff, and I didn't want to keep harping on it, even though I've got 500,000 more subscribers now. But I would do live videos on the whiteboard and do reharmonizations live all the time. I'd say, you can do this. I remember doing a blues where I took a basic blues pattern and I reharmonized it, 6-7 different ways. And I have videos on that stuff too, where I reharmonized. And I think that understanding harmony in that way, what the possibilities are, is really important. This is one of my criticisms of the masterclass thing that I saw with with uh, with Herbie Hancock, was that he he really was having a hard time explaining things. And at one point in the video, he's talking about practicing and learning, and he talked about Hannon and something he practiced. He goes, well, really, I haven't played. I'm 76 years old, so I really haven't played. And I started when I was 6. So some of the stuff I haven't played in 70 years. And it was, it was hilarious. I mean, he's like, well, I don't really remember back then. It was 70 years ago. And, but he could not explain the stuff he was doing, and he was doing some really great stuff. I mean, just incredible, really tasteful, beautiful, beautiful reharms and everything. And he was doing a lot of free playing. he was playing over some certain tunes, but definitely not explaining. When I'm saying, okay, bar 1 of a blues. So on a bar 1 of a blues, you can have, let's say your blues in F. Instead of playing F7 or F9 for 2 bars, right? I don't play these kind of chords. You typically don't play chords with a 5th in them in jazz like that. Okay, a 5th is the first note that you omit from the chord voicing. That's just something that you learn. That's probably something I should go back and talk about again. But so many times then you think 2, 5, 1, passing diminished. Okay, and then so you could really go a simple 2/5 line that sorry. Okay, I was really thinking hard there. So if I think 2, 5, 1, passing diminished, back to 2, right? So I'm doing 2 second bar. Okay, so I'm sounding like Herbie Hancock now, right? Ba ba da 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 ba da. So I did. I'm trying to do as many different substitute chord changes there. Can you guys hear all those that's going by there? Oh boy. So most guys will think 2, 5, 1 passing diminished, or it could be 2, 5, 1 flat 7 back to the 2, 5, 1 flat 7, right? So you hear the chords going by, you know. I would go back and watch those blues, those videos where I did the blues rearms. I got a bunch of them. Okay, let's see. Question for you: since you can name a diminished for any of the 4 notes, how do you choose which to name it? It does not matter, honestly. Typically, let's see, in Hawaiian music, diminished almost functions as a dominant 7 flat 9. I mean, you can use it here. It all depends on the root motion. So when I go, if I'm on the 4 chord, I'm going to use B diminished back up to F7 over C. Okay, I could go and go down here. If I use A flat diminished, is going to resolve up to F over A, right? You always want to be a half step away from the right? Then here is going to be F diminished to F dominant, A flat diminished to F over A, B diminished to F7 over C, and then you've got D diminished to F7 over E flat, right? So it'd be like a and then you're back to here. Diminished up a half step dominant chord is a dominant 7 minus the root. Correct. So if you have a D7 flat 9 and you play an E flat diminished 7th, so I played E flat diminished 7. If I just add that note, the root of the dominant chord, and then go up and start the diminished 7th arpeggio a half step above, that gives you the sound of a dominant 7th. That's the sound. That is the sound. But knowing, so to answer your question, you can use any of the 4 different diminished chords as long as you resolve to the correct inversion of the next chord. Here, you don't have a root change. F diminished to F7. But here, A flat diminish resolves up to the F7, but I'm doing it F7 over A, but I'm actually not even doing the whole chord. And then B diminish, so I'm using this diminish. Okay, that's something you should know. I don't know if I've gone over that much on here. You guys, have I gone over this very much? That's something that you really, really need to know. I mean, these are, I think these things are important. Okay, let's see. Reason for asking is most of your students are relative beginners and they think diminish when I talk about their function, the secondary dominance, their eyes glaze over. It's difficult. It's difficult to explain. But I would do an exercise like this where you teach people, start out with 4 inversions of a dominant chord. Just do them on 3 strings. Okay, now here doesn't really have it's not really dominant because I don't have the flat 7, which would be here. I'd have to add it to the chord, but then you just put those diminish. And those kind of things are really great because when you're walking, if you're doing that's where that stuff comes in. You know, if I'm doing, let's say I'm playing F blues. I mean, that's, there you go. That's a great little exercise there. And I put in all these passing diminish. You just show them that. There you go. I just gave you a Herbie Hancock explanation. You can go back and watch that. I think that might be in my Beato book, that exercise. Okay, there's a lot of information there. I'm tired. My brain is fried right now from all that. You can stop this, rewind it, play it as many times as you want. All those voicings I played were on just 3 strings. Just stop the, those are, you know, those are, I love that sound. It's beautiful. Okay, you guys are the best. I'm going to come on again in another day or so. I got to make up some of these days when I was gone out of town. Happy New Year to everybody. I'll talk to you guys in 2019. And my live stream is up from the other day, which means I can do the doors, which is amazing. So very cool. All right. We'll see you guys. Thank you.